Welcome in. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for streaming with me here on your Monday afternoon. You guys, we're starting with some breaking news we just learned about a few minutes ago. And it starts with a state representative being indicted for fraud. We're learning more about this Georgia lawmaker. She is accused of illegally collecting pandemic benefits. And you're taking a look at Sharon Henderson. Federal investigators arrested her today. They say she collected nearly $18,000 in unemployment benefits using false information. Federal prosecutors say this happened while Henderson was a political candidate and later while serving in office.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the video. This is Justin Paul, and I just seen this clip here, and I just said, man, let me go ahead and do a reaction to it, get more information, see what's going on. So, a state representative in Georgia, her name is Sharon Henderson. She's a Democrat, of course, sad to say, but she's of course is a Democrat, and she's been charged with committing fraud using the pandemic unemployment, the funds that they were giving out. So they're accusing her of falsifying information and receiving funds, hundreds of thousands of dollars of funds. And am I surprised? No. Do I feel like more people have done that? Within a position of power, like having a being a state representative. Yes, I do. Um, and in my opinion, man, she seems like she's more than likely been within politics for a long time. She's obviously looks a bit older, and I know she knew better. That's just the whole kill of the whole thing is I know she knew better. And a lot of times it's greed, just taking advantage of the position that you hold, thinking that you're going to be able to get away with stuff, and not knowing that they are still currently investigating those who got those funds. Like the investigations are still going on. And as long as Trump is in office, trust me, they'll still be investigating what's going on. And who was getting those funds illegally and stuff like that. And it's just a shame, man, that the person has to be a black person for one, and the person has to be a Democrat for another, and then she's a lady, a woman, who, like I said, is older in age, who should have known better. I'm pretty sure she's someone's mother, possibly someone's grandmother, and this is very embarrassing if you ask me. If this was my mother or my grandmother, I would be embarrassed. Honestly, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it or hold my tongue on this one. I would be absolutely embarrassed. Because you would think a person who was able to get themselves into a position of where they was a state representative for a district, they would know better than to commit fraud and take advantage of a federal system that was put in place for people who were really struggling during the pandemic. Just took advantage for greed. I'm gonna let the video continue.
They believe she first applied for pandemic unemployment benefits in June 2020. At the time, she was running for a state house seat and claimed she was unemployed because Henry County schools had closed. Prosecutors say that information was false. They say she'd not worked for the school system since briefly serving as a substitute teacher in 2018, and that her employment agreement specifically said substitutes were not eligible for unemployment pay. Now, according to this indictment, Henderson continued certifying weekly benefits into mid-2021, including 8 filings made after she was sworn into office as a state representative for District 113.
So she was collecting unemployment benefits, and she collected them 8 weeks even after she was nominated or voted in as a state representative, still collecting those unemployment benefit payments. And her employment agreement as a substitute was that she would not be eligible for unemployment. Which, I feel like the state should have seen that and should have denied her unemployment claim. Honestly, that's what I would have seen. But if you're able to get by with something, most times people who want to, you know, like I say, people with greed, they just, if they can find a creek or a crack, they're gonna just squeeze themselves right on into it.
During those filings, officials say she repeatedly claimed she was unable to work because of pandemic related issues. But investigators say those statements allowed her to receive $17,811 in benefits she was not entitled to. Now, she is expected to plead not guilty when she appears in federal court today. We'll continue to keep you updated on this.
Okay, so it wasn't hundreds of thousands, it was 17K, a little bit over 17K. I see what you're saying. So I do stand corrected as far as what I was saying earlier. So 17K, um, recertifying when she knows she shouldn't have been getting any unemployment in the first place, and just taking advantage of the system, a system that obviously wasn't um, as secure or as tight as far as verifying certain things as it should have been. And we'll have to see what becomes of this. Of course, she's gonna plead not guilty to these things, but they already have everything as far as what was done in black and white. They already have traced back her history as they broke down in this report, and we'll just have to see what happens, man. More than likely, it's just gonna be a slap on the wrist. I don't really see too much coming out of this, but we'll just have to wait and see. Again, if this was my mother or my grandmother, I would really be embarrassed by this, because it's just like, better. You absolutely know better, and you shouldn't put yourself in a position to be in a news clipping of this nature. Is because how people in your district going to trust you now after they know that this is something that you pulled. You don't think you have people in your district that were unemployed at that time and were maybe denied, wasn't able to get any funding and stuff like that. So it's very unfortunate. Um, in my opinion, of course, she should lose that position as far as in her district, but that's not my decision to make. But that's just my opinion on it. But I'm gonna just keep this one kind of short. This is all the information that we were able to get so far, and of course, if there's any more information that I see come across about this, we'll definitely keep everyone updated. Um, within a good amount of time. But yeah, this is just crazy, man. Just I say, man, this is like somebody, grandma, auntie, mama. It's just like, come on, lady, you know better than that, man. You know better. Just sad. People let greed get the best of them, and it leads them to having their mugshot on the news for doing something that's egregious. Especially if you worked your way into a position of public service, and you have people that's under you in a whole district. It's crazy. But again, if you like my content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. This is Justin Paul. Peace.